Good morning everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking another look at the Anytone 168 from BridgeCom Systems. BridgeCom Systems did send me this radio for review, and I did my unboxing video back in April, so if you haven't checked that out, you can head back to my page and that will be there. So now that I've had a few months on this radio, I wanted to kind of talk about some of my thoughts on it, how it's been working and all that. And honestly, I was more impressed than I expected to be. And spoiler alert, I think this radio is going to be the first radio that I've seen that is kind of best suited to overtake or kind of dethrone the Baofeng as the prepping community's go-to radio for general preparedness. For what this radio is, it's still an incredibly good radio from what I've seen so far. And this is going to be one of the best reasons to buy from BridgeCom Systems, because I reached out to them that morning when I had the issue, and same day I had a message back from their tech support telling me exactly what happened and here's step by step how to fix it. I basically just had to do the full factory reset on the radio, go into the CPS, export all the data for the code plug, re-import that data as a brand new code plug, and then rewrite that to the radio. Incredibly simple fix. It was really nice to have that answer same day and be able to get the radio back up and going. So their support team was fantastic. Where the Anytone 168 really shines, first and foremost, is going to be the overall value of this radio. I believe at the time I'm making this video, these are running about $200 through BridgeCom Systems. And really, I am not aware of any other radio on the market that packs this much capability and comes with as many accessories as this radio does for that price. So this radio it's an analog radio, it's a DMR radio, it is dual band, VHF and UHF. If you have a business license and you're going to be using it for that kind of use, it does come with a number of different encryption algorithms included, including AES 256, which is currently the strongest encryption algorithm that's currently available on any radio in the civilian market. But on top of that, it comes with, so obviously you get this antenna with the radio, you get this 2600 milliamp hour battery, you also get another 1800 milliamp hour battery included in the box for $200, and you also get an extended antenna. So having that extended antenna, having that second battery, those are two things that typically most people will have to go out and spend more money on when they're buying a radio. Especially in terms of preparedness, we want to have a second battery on hand. We like to have that longer antenna to be able to improve our range for certain situations. That's normally stuff that we're going out and spending. That could typically be another $30 to $40 for a battery and potentially another $30 to $40 for the antenna. It's not the case with this radio. It comes with them. So it is right out of the box. You've got more of the stuff that you need and less initial investment. Now on top of that, you might have seen when I opened the cover here that it has a USB-C port. So not only does the Anytone 168 program via a USB-C cable, but it can also charge via that USB-C cable plugged right into the side. And that's another big consideration when it comes to preparedness. If we're concerned about disasters, if we're concerned about long-term power outages, there's always a question of how you're going to continue to power your stuff and how you're going to keep your batteries charged. So if I can have this radio and just simply plug it into this battery bank with a USB cord, and this one has a solar panel on it, I can keep this radio going for really as long as I need to. So having that option there it's really a game changer. I have seen a number of other radios that you can buy the aftermarket batteries that have the USB-C charging port on it. What I'm not such a huge fan of those about is a lot of them put the USB-C port on the battery itself and then don't give any kind of cover or protection to that USB-C port. So it just becomes a spot for dust or dirt or whatever else to get into the radio and potentially mess up how the charging port works. Granted, the USB-C port on this phone that I'm shooting right now is typically fine after it lives in my pocket for day after day after day. I occasionally have to clean stuff out of it, but it is what it is. So I'm very happy to see the USB-C port is protected on the Anytone 168 here. Now, what really surprises me about the Anytone 168 is it's really performing at a level that is outside of this price bracket in a good way. And on top of that, The audio output from the speaker was really a lot better than I was expecting. I've typically been pretty underwhelmed by the speakers on Anytone 878 that I have. When I had the volume turned all the way up, driving down the highway, so you get a decent amount of road noise, I had no trouble whatsoever hearing this radio, and I actually got very minimal audio distortion with that volume turned all the way up. It was there a little bit, but it was not unusable by any means, so very happy to see that. That's been one of my biggest complaints with most portable radios. The Anytone 168 really kind of blew me away in terms of how well it works for the money. I did check, they are $200 through BridgeCom Systems right now, and if you buy it through BridgeCom Systems, you also get access to BridgeCom University, which is going to be an online training program that's going to teach you all about DMR, how to get this radio programmed, because there is a lot more that goes into the programming of these Anytone radios, or any DMR radio for that matter, than your typical Baofeng does when you hook it up to your laptop and program it with Chirp. It's a lot different. Now, is the Anytone 168 the absolute best radio you can buy? That is a very loaded question. It is both objective and subjective. Objectively, no, this is not the absolute best radio you can buy. There are a lot of other radios out there that do a lot of the same things that the 168 does, but have overall better hardware and generally better capabilities. And typically, those radios are going to be a lot of the professional grade LMR radios that you'll see in use in fire departments, law enforcement, and other roles like those. Those are built to a much different standard than the Anytone 168 does. And they'll, like I said, they'll do a lot of the same things, but they will typically do them better as well. Scanning, for instance, is one of those things. Their scanning speed is going to be a lot faster. You're going to get through your scan list a lot faster than you will on the Anytone radios. Now, subjectively is where it starts to get kind of interesting, because all of those other radios that I just talked about also cost a lot more than the Anytone 168 does. Now, if we were to just go feature for feature everything that the Anytone 168 can do, being both VHF and UHF, and it can do DMR, and it has AES 256 encryption, and the closest radio that I have found that can really do the exact same things that the Anytone 168 can is going to be the Kenwood Viking VP 8000. Now, if you haven't seen those, I would recommend you go take a look at them. They are an incredibly nice radio, but man, they are incredibly expensive. I actually have a buddy who works for a Kenwood dealer, and he kind of told me what the pricing on those looks like. If you get a fully loaded Kenwood VP 8000, buying every feature you possibly can, those will cost you new about $13,000 per radio. That is insane compared to the $200 168. Granted, it is a different radio designed for a different purpose. Now, there is also the possibility to get a used VP 8000 off somewhere like eBay, but even then, you're still going to be looking, from what I've seen, close to about $4,000 for a used radio. So, objectively, no, it's not the best radio that you can get, but when you start figuring in the price and everything that you're getting, especially getting it from BridgeCom Systems, getting access to their tech support, having BridgeCom University, getting the 2 batteries for this radio right out of the box, getting the 2 antennas, having the USB-C charging, having dual band, having DMR, having that encryption, if that is something that you're going to use. I have not seen another radio on the market that gives all of that and performs at the level that this radio does for that price. And that is exactly why I think this radio is going to be best suited to really overtake the Baofeng as the prepping community's general go-to radio for general preparedness.